Well, all right, folks, here we are. In this video, we're going to learn how to throw the uppercut punch. It may seem a little bit weird at first with some of the shadows from the plants, but I kind of like it, and it kind of also fits with the theme in the sense that I really want to stress that this punch is not as complicated as it may seem, and at least not so complicated to start. And here's why. So, all right, you should already be warmed up. I want you guys to already be warmed up on any of these videos and stuff. But the way we're going to start is I don't want you to do a massive amount of the body, massive amount of in the legs. I just want you to do just the arm. See what I'm doing? I just want you to take the arm, okay, with the fist kind of facing forward in the normal position, and I want you to rotate it as you're moving it up and just do the uppercut motion. It doesn't matter in your doubts, fears, or worries that you haven't done it before, or maybe you're not doing it right. Just do the motion, because my point is the body is going to tell you how to throw the punch. The body is going to show you, and the body is going to give you the feelings of where you're awkward, where you're going to feel those resistances possibly happening, and the possible areas of the off balance. And you're also going to find these tingles and these areas where the body wants to give, where the body wants to help you be able to throw those punches. That's what I want you to do in the beginning. And now I want you to then, okay, explore those areas, lean into that area, bend with the knees into it a little bit to help you, and still throw the punches and add to the body and feel that motion, and keep playing with it, keep modifying it and adjusting, okay, till you feel that you got a decent uppercut, and so that you could start to add some leverage to it, and you could start to drive it and aim it and drill it and stuff. Okay, cool. So don't worry, there's going to be moments when I get more into the sun over there. While I was filming this, I was not unaware that there was such an overcast shadow on me. So, okay, the point is, all right, now doing just the arm and going through just the motions is one thing, okay, but you need to generate some power with that, right? We need to have some kind of oomph to that and stuff. And the way that we're going to be able to do that is by leveraging and leaning and bending the body in a certain position so that we can open up a range of motion, or increase a range of motion for throwing the punch. And like I said, believe me, it may sound kind of cool and complex in a way or whatever, but it's not. So basically, if we're, okay, here I'm throwing the right uppercut, okay? So, and what I'm showing you is, be careful that all of your punches aren't these short-range punches for someone to be right in your face. Make sure that you have some distance when you're throwing these punches. So we're throwing the uppercut to the gut, to the body, with some distance to it. But my point is, what I was saying before is, you see, here is an example, in order to get more leverage on bending at the knees. Then there's going to be ones where you're tilting or bending at the waist. And now I'm showing us that we're doing a combination of bending at the waist and also bending at the knees. And one of the most classic ways is, let's say, see, there we go, I'm dipping. So if we're going to throw the right uppercut, we dip to the right. Give ourselves, can you see that? It's pretty simple, right? You'll feel it. Most importantly is you'll feel it and stuff. So let's see what we do. Another version, instead of dipping, is you step. So you're making the room, you're creating the angle. So if we're going to throw the right uppercut with my right foot, okay, which is the lead, so I'm in a right sparring stance, I step to the right a bit. You could step completely to the right, you could step to the right and forward a little bit more. It's not rocket science, play with them all and stuff. And of course you can remain in your stance and just do the leaning and stuff, right? Yeah. So that probably wraps it up, and no, I'm just kidding. But in a way, it does, in the sense that your body is going to tell you how to throw the punch, and what you then need to do is be familiar with the options you have for helping to throw that punch. And depending on what kind of goals you have and objectives you have with the punch. For example, you may be in close, or you may be trying to go further out in long distance. You may be going toward the head. You may be going toward the heart and chest, which are definitely punching areas. Or you may be going for the gut or the ribs and the side. Also combined with that is in your considerations when you're throwing the punch is everything I just said, but at the same time, your defense, where your head is, what vulnerabilities you're creating, because every offense, okay, creates a need to defend another part to it and stuff. So you're always creating some kind of opening, in a sense. I mean, no matter what somebody tells you, it's impossible, okay, because you're reaching out. And the hand that's not reaching out, that's doing the guarding, can't guard every single spot. Okay, so there's always an opening. You're always creating openings. Openings and closings are happening all the time at any given moment and stuff. So, here's a cool example, okay? Just imagine you're running, okay? Now, instead of doing the normal position with your running fists, rotate your fist a little bit so they're in the uppercut, but you're running. And I want you to be loose and stay loose so you feel that. Now, with that run, okay, instead of just running in place, you're doing a little bit more bobbing, stuff that you would be doing if you were skipping rope and all of that stuff, okay? And there you go. And so that little shuffling, the little bobbing and weaving that you do are also your angles to be able to throw the punch. Here, reminding us again, okay, practice your infighting, close range ones, but also practice your long distance ones. It's very easy to get into a habit of just practicing all your punches, especially when you're going light, as if somebody was right in your face, but that's not always the case. So make sure that you're comfortable throwing them at a further distance, and it's much more difficult to throw at a further distance. It can be because it can throw you off balance. You're not used to it. You feel you don't have as much weight and leverage into your shots and stuff. But the technique still remains the same. When you're throwing your punches and stuff, you're going to do some version of a step in. If you don't want to completely lean, then you're stepping and you're moving forward. So you're advancing a little bit, even if it's just laterally, okay? You're advancing a little bit in order to create that leverage. And you're going off angle sometimes, or sometimes you're just completely advancing if you want to go forward. What I'm talking about here is there's the option of when you want to throw the punch, you could cock it, chamber it, kick back, bring it back in order to throw it. Even that doesn't always imply that it's going to be a power shot, but often they do involve more powerful ones. But depending on the position that you're in, or depending on your setup punch, your shoulders could do that work for you. So if you were to throw a jab with the left, a left jab, okay? Your left shoulder or whatever would sort of be going forward a bit in a natural motion, and your right side would naturally tilt or rotate back. So you're already in a natural chamber to then throw an uppercut with your right, okay? Again, what you do is practice these. Throw a jab, throw your lead jab, and then see where your right hand is, okay? Or see where your rear is. If you're left-handed, throw your lead right jab, and then see where your left hand is. And most likely, your left hand is in a great position to release. Or at the very least, all you have to do is a little bit more of a chamber in order to throw that uppercut. All right, so here we are again, and we're practicing all our motions for the uppercut. And here I'm going through the whole forward and backwards range of motion. So you can be leaning in when you're throwing the uppercut, and you can get certain benefits and certain forces that way. You can be level, upright. You can be really level, center of gravity, center of mass level, and throw them. Or you can be leaning backwards. And, okay, so here we're doing the double up, and see a big part. Can you notice a little bit of that shift, a little bit of that rotation? And that rotation is naturally occurring, and also you're adding to it as you're bringing back the punch. So you're doing, even if it's double uppercuts or whatever, so let's say you're doing a jab, and then you're bringing that jab back. As you're bringing it back, you're creating the angle, and you're creating a tilt, and you're probably also going to add to the angle and add to the tilt if you need to, and then boom, you double up and throw your uppercut. Here's a great exaggeration where you're not going to have a problem. So what I'm doing here is I'm sidestepping or rotating or stepping off to the side, and in that step I'm able to be on that off angle and throw the uppercut and stuff. The cool thing about that as well is if I'm sidestepping somebody and then I have to rotate in during the sidestep to face them, or at least punch toward them, I'm naturally creating that rotation as well and stuff. So here I'm showing you, in order to get really powerful, some versions of really powerful uppercuts are going to involve a sort of hip pelvis thrust outward and stuff. And this allows you to get a lot of oomph, forward oomph, without having to do it all within dipping, all within a ducking and rising up one as well and stuff. So harder to get a lot of power on your lead uppercut, but the lead uppercut can be really deceptive and stuff, right? Because people expect the uppercut to come from a more common, realistic leverage area, which would be your naturally rear area that's sort of already dipping back and stuff like that. So the uppercut coming from the lead can be quite tricky. Now we're going to talk about in close, and here I want to show you the roll of the shoulders. So keep your hands to your side and just notice the range of your shoulders and stuff like that. See, imagine I was throwing punches right now. Okay, but I'm not, but I am, because that's what my shoulders would be doing through the punch. So I'm showing you, I would see, there's a jab, that's a 1-2, there's my uppercut. Okay, jab, 1-2, uppercut. Right? Now you can completely step backwards as well. You can go to what I'm showing you. You can step to the side to give yourself leverage. Okay, and there I'm showing you how to get good leverage with the lead. You can step completely back. You can leap back and have, during that leap, you can feel it. And even if during the leap you tilt a certain way or whatever, you can create the leverage. You can create the better range of motion for either the lead jab or your rear jab and the power, rear lead uppercut or power uppercut and stuff. Right, and this is what you're seeing now. Is I'm playing with all of the different positions and stuff to playing with all the different upper body positions. Okay, core, mid-body, and also the legs and the feet. They all work together, and they all could also be highlighted. A certain area can be highlighted more. And like I said, it's really hard to isolate one of the areas from everything else. It's hard to be completely independent because everything works in groups and together. That's just the body, right? But you certainly can emphasize, you certainly can highlight a certain area and stuff. So there's a little interesting one, right? And you see, it's not just here, it's not just the dip of the knee and the body, but also you notice how that left rear foot is rising up a little bit to give me that leverage and stuff. And there, I didn't really rise up as much. So if you would have noticed, I was getting a little bit more hip and pelvis doing the rise in order for me to get that rise.